All right, guys, in today's video, we're going to be chasing an oil leak. We're on this 2013 5.3-liter aluminum block V8. This is a RPO LC9, I believe. And here's your oil filter here, and you can see, like right there, a little drop of oil. You can kind of see a film of oil on the oil filter and around where the bell housing connects to the block here, and more oil up in here. And where this oil is coming from, through checking a couple of different times, the oil is coming from the gasket that's on this plate here. There's a couple of 10mm bolts here. This particular engine is an oil cooler delete, so normally the oil cooler lines would fit in here with a fitting. This vehicle does not have an oil cooler, so it just has this block off plate. But in either case, there's a gasket behind this, and it's prone to leaking. So in order to do this repair, we're going to first have to pull the oil filter, because we want to get the oil that's in this cavity area drained out to make less of a mess when we pull this cover off. So we're going to do that first. I'm going to go ahead and pull this oil filter, and then I'll bring you guys back after we get it all drained off, and then we'll pick it up with the next step. All right, guys, here's a shot pulled further back just for perspective, right? Now, this particular leak we're chasing, it could be coming from a number of different places, right? It could be coming from the rear main seal where the bell housing area mounts up to the rear of the block. It could be coming from the rear area of the oil pan itself, or it could be coming from this oil pan cover that we're kind of focused on, or it could be multiple leaks happening. And so we're thinking with the age of the vehicle, 2013, all original, never been serviced in this regard, it's probably a little of both. If I was to bet money, I'm going to say it's probably this oil pan cover gasket leaking is the minor part of the leak, and the major part of the leak is probably the rear main seal, but we're going to go after the small one so we can make some progress and fix something here. All right, we got our oil filter off, and it's just drizzling, so it's a good time to come in here and get these two 10mm bolts loose. Box end wrench is probably your best bet here for the clearance. And then when we put them back on, we'll probably come through with the torque wrench on the other side of this drive shaft. This is a four-wheel drive vehicle. That one's loose. Let's get this guy loosened up. All right, both these are loosened up. So you guys don't necessarily need to sit here and watch me take these both out. We'll go ahead and pull both these bolts, and then we'll pull this cover off. But just with it loosened up a little bit here, just want to show you, you can see, if you orient the camera a little bit on this side, you can see the oil coming through on that seam. A couple of times when we took a look at this vehicle, we saw something very similar. So, you know, that's another confirmation that we're in the right spot for this particular leak. It might look like that, or it might look like a little drip like you see on this little piece of aluminum here, where it's just got like a drop. Something like that will help give you confirmation, right? Because if you had some kind of a leak happening around the oil filter, there's no way for it to go up and make contact with the surface here. And if you had some kind of leak happening on your rear main seal, again, there's no way for it to jump around the bell housing and crawl around the front of the engine and get over here, right? You have to kind of use some common sense about what's happening. You got airflow moving in this direction as you drive down with the vehicle, so nothing's going to go towards the radiator leak-wise. It's going to go towards the rear of the vehicle, or it's going to go towards the ground with gravity. And so when you see a leak where you've got oil all around this side of the oil filter, and you've got oil on the side of the oil filter running down, and then you might have some on some of the frame pieces or something like that, that helps you zero in on the right location. Anyway, we're just going to go ahead and keep working these bolts off, and I'll show you what the gasket looks like and the part we're replacing with. There are two gaskets for this, guys. One for oil filter, oil cooler delete, and one for if you have the oil cooler. So I'll show you the one with the delete because that's what we got here, but I'll put the part numbers for both in the description. All right, guys, it's kind of tedious and time-consuming with the box end wrench, but eventually you're going to get it to the point where you can get up here and finish pulling these bolts off by hand. I think we're at that point now. I was trying to do this without blocking your view, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. see if that works. that one's out. They're about 2 inches longer, so. And the last one over here. It's a pretty straightforward job. It's just a PITA in terms of access. Get the flashlight back down here. You guys can see what I took off here. Right? So this is the delete plate right here with the other bolt. We need to get that cleaned up. And then that gasket is metal. It's still kind of stuck on up here. So what I have to do on that is we're going to have to get like a prizing tool to get that off. Let me reach in, see if I can get a small pry bar up there. All right, elected for a small flathead screwdriver. There we go. Now we've got that guy off. Let's go ahead and get everything cleaned up, and then we'll get it reassembled. All right, guys, with that part off, let's take a look at the service manual for these years that I'll put in the video title as well. And we can see in the service manual there's not much to this. This is called an oil pan cover replacement. 2 bolts, the cover, and the gasket. The oil cooler is a dealer installed accessory, or you bought it and installed it yourself. So all the service manual covers is the delete case. All they tell you to do is delete, to remove this, and then always put a new pan cover gasket into position, and then torque the 2 10mm bolts to 80 inch-pounds. We cleaned up this cover, right? So she looks like this now. So she's all ready to be reinstalled, and we've cleaned the mating surface on the engine. And the part we're going to be using for this delete is a 1261-1384, and I'll show the part number in the description for if you've got the oil cooler option installed. And all we're going to do with this guy, make sure when you open this up you don't bend it. You'll notice this has got like a little corner to it. And what you want to do is position it like this, so you can see there's like an indentation on this guy, right? And then this side's indented in and this side's indented out. So I like to position it like this with it in the upper left corner. Get your screws started, and they will hold on to the gasket like that. And then we're just going to put this back underneath, and then we'll hand tighten it, and then we'll torque it up to 80 inch-pounds. All right, one last wipe up of any residual oil that may have dripped out. Looks very bright there. Let me turn that light a little bit. That's a little better. Maybe, maybe not. Then we're going to bring our assembly up. For this, I'm going to block your view for a moment because I got to get up here and hand start these bolts. All right, guys, sorry about that. I had to block your view to get this hand tightened. So now we're just going to painstakingly come in here with a box end wrench, and we're going to snug these guys down, and then I'll show you how you can get some access for a torque. All right, we got these to just where they start to get a little snug with the box end wrench. That's where you want to stop, because this type of gasket's like a crush gasket. So we want to definitely torque it down properly, or we're going to be doing this job again with leaks. Now, you can get a torque wrench in here with 1/4 inch hardware. So this is a 1/4 inch 10mm on a 1/4 inch swivel. I'm just going to get that in position, and then I'll show you. Come on, get on there, baby. All right. So now, just to show you where we're at, right? So we've got the wrench coming right on this side of the drive shaft, right? And so that'll give you enough access to both of these bolts where you can actually torque them. And it's very important to actually do a torque on these, because I'm going to hold this up here just so we can get a few clicks back here so we can get some slack on this wrench. But you want to have it in a position like that so you can actually torque these down. Now, if you over torque this, you might end up damaging this gasket and you might end up with a leak. And if you don't get it torqued enough, you won't crush it and you'll get a leak. 80 inch-pounds on both of these should do it, and that's what we've got. So this job is done. We're going to put a new oil filter in here, new AC Delco PF48, and we'll go ahead and change the oil while we're in here and reset the oil life meter, and then we'll check for leaks. And if it's no leaks, then we'll go ahead and hose this whole area down with brake clean to get these stains off of here, and that'll complete this job. I hope this helps you out. If you got questions or comments, go ahead and leave them below, and I'll try to help. If you found this video useful and it helped you get your repair done, solve this leak on your engine, pay it forward and hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it. And as always, thanks for watching.